Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Ram Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Stotra Tata Shivangas Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki Slama Veda Bhakti Tagore Premanande all glories to the Son all glories to the Son all glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narottamam
Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Hridaya Mudire
Rastapraya Shivapatreshu
Rastapraya Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki
Hare Krishna Shantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam ki
Jai.
Reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text number 48. Flashlight. Bring my glasses. Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Saha Krishno Gajavayam Pitaram Santavayam Asa Gandharim cha tapasvinim Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Saha Krishno Gajavayam Pitaram Santavayam Asa Gandharim cha tapasvinim Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Saha Krishno Gajavayam Pitaram Santavayam Asa Gandharim cha tapasvinim
Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Saha Krishno Gajavayam Pitaram Santavayam Asa Gandharim cha tapasvinim Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Saha Krishno Gajavayam Pitaram Santavayam Asa Gandharim cha tapasvinim
Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Saha Krishno Gajavayam Pitaram Santavayam Asa Gandharim cha tapasvinim
Tata Thereafter
Yudhishthira
Maharaj Yudhishthira Gatva Going Saha with Krishna the Lord Gajavayam in the capital name Gajahima Hastinapur Pitaram unto his uncle Dhritarashtra Santavayam consoled Gandharim the wife of Dhritarashtra and Tapasvinim an ascetic lady. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace of Vaichananda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thereafter, Maharaj Yudhishthira at once went to his capital, Hastinapur, accompanied by Lord Shri Krishna, and there he consoled his uncle and aunt Gandhari, who was an ascetic. Please repeat. Thereafter, Maharaj Yudhishthira at once went to his capital. Hastinapur, accompanied by Lord Shri Krishna, and there he consoled his uncle and aunt, Gandhari, who was an ascetic. Purport. Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, the father and mother of Duryodhana and his brothers, were the elder uncle and aunt of Maharaj Yudhishthira. After the battle of Kurukshetra, the celebrated couple, having lost all their sons and grandsons, were under the care of Maharaj Yudhishthira. They were passing their days in great agony over such a heavy loss of life, and were practically living the life of ascetics. The death news of Bhishmadev, uncle of Dhritarashtra, was another great shock for the king and queen, and therefore they required the solace of Maharaj Yudhishthira. Maharaj Yudhishthira was conscious of his duty, and that he at once hurried to the spot with Lord Krishna and satisfied the bereaved Dhritarashtra with kind words from both himself and the Lord also. Gandhari was a powerful ascetic. Although she was living the life of a faithful wife and a kind mother, it is said that Gandhari also voluntarily closed her eyes because of the blindness of her husband. A wife's duty is to follow the husband's 100%. And Gandhari was so true to her husband that she followed him even in his perpetual blindness. Therefore, in her actions, she was a great ascetic. Besides that, the shock she suffered because of the wholesale killing of her 100 sons and her grandson was certainly too much for a woman. But she suffered all of this just like an ascetic. Gandhari also, although a woman, is no less than Bhishma in character. They are both remarkable personalities in the Mahabharata. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagradatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parirasaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Param Sagana Vita Shri Vishakamitamsta He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Videshakarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thereafter, Maharaj Yudhishthira at once went to his capital, Hastinapur, accompanied by Lord Shri Krishna, and there he consoled his uncle and aunt Gandhari, who was an ascetic. So, again, we're now at the near end of this beautiful chapter, the passing away of Bhishma Dev. So many extraordinary lessons and instructions come from this chapter, one of the most powerful chapters in Shrimadbhagavatam. Actually, you can say that after we complete each chapter. Okay. Because every word of Shrimadbhagavatam is so potent. But, we've seen the impeccable character of Bhishma Dev and how he rendered such pure devotional service in such an extraordinary way. And Bhishma Dev, from general external vision, sometimes can be, questioned for his decision-making or his character. And this is when one tries to understand something from their ignorant viewpoint. They say, he fought on the side of the Kauravas, the evil or wicked. He attacked Arjuna with arrows, and even Krishna, and he made Krishna lie. But as we've explained, this actions are all done to show the supremacy of Krishna by establishing Krishna as the ever well-wisher of all of his devotees. And so Bhishma Dev's purity is extraordinary and celebrated. But we learn in this chapter that we have to understand the actions of great personalities through the eyes of our acharyas, because otherwise we'll not understand them. And we have this experience, like in our childhood. Sometimes mother and father will do something, and we don't understand, wow, why they're doing this? This is so wrong, this is mean, this is not good, right? We have this. And why we think that? Because in our immature view, we see only one part of the story. But mother and father are seeing full. So they are taking certain decisions with a higher knowledge. So similarly, in our immature state, when we view the activities of someone, we don't see the full picture. So we must go to somebody who has broad vision. And they can explain why this is happening. What is to be understood from this process. So, like this, we see the glorification of Gandhari, the wife of Dhritarashtra. In many ways, she also suffered the same fate, in that she was the wife of Dhritarashtra, who inspired his sons to perform such heinous acts, such heinous actions, all for the goal and desire to obtain a kingdom. A kingdom of rule that even Yudhishthira didn't even want, though he was the rightful heir. He is now ruling in Hastinapur after being instructed by Bhishma Deva as the best type of leader. Why is the best type of leader?
Mine. Which one, Prabhu?
Yudhishthira Maharaj. Why is the best type of leader?
Because he doesn't see that he's the leader. He always wants to serve the people.
Okay, so that's a servant leader. But what makes his leadership so profound is he's a reluctant leader.
What does that mean?
He is not desiring to lead.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't want
So he is leading out of duty, out of service, out of instruction. So there is no personal ambition in his leadership. And that's what makes it pure. He is leading out of obligation. And so it means that his leadership then becomes completely unmotivated. And that's what makes him the best leader. And these are the best leaders even in society today. When one leads out of sense of duty, out of sense of obligation, with no desire to actually have that position, but are willing to do it for the benefit of others, they become the best leaders. And this is Yudhishthira Maharaj. But Dhritarashtra could not see these qualities. And so he inspired Duryodhana to perform such abominable actions. And Gandhari, being his wife, sort of gets implicated by association in public view. And actually, Srila Prabhupada is making an extraordinary statement here. What he says? Gandhari is no less than Bhishma Deva in character. And Srila Prabhupada doesn't use words just gratuitously. He is exacting in his statements. He's exacting in his statements. So we should understand this very important point, that Gandhari is also worshipful personality, because she had great qualities. And the quality that we see here is she's a tapasvinim. She is an ascetic, one willing to take on great austerity. And her strength of character is shown by how she's handling this loss of her 100 children. And Prabhupada writes, she handled it like an ascetic. What does that mean? She was not overly disturbed in consciousness. And, Srila Prabhupada has written in a purport earlier that, a very strong, as chaste woman is actually the source of strength for everyone, including their husband. So it is actually Gandhari who is going to lead Dhritarashtra to reconcile this situation. And ultimately we know Vidur is going to come and tell Dhritarashtra, what are you doing? You're staying in the house of Yudhishthira Maharaj like a pet.
Yes.
It's best you go to the forest now and enter Vanaprastha ashram and endure austerity. And who came with him? Gandhari. Leaving the comfort of royal life and enter into the forest to take on austerity as a means of purification. So this, Gandhari's qualities and character are extraordinary. And this is where we have to be very, very careful. There are very foolish and envious people who make such ridiculous comments about either our Vedic philosophy or even, they'll comment on Srila Prabhupada and say that, he was gender biased. It's complete stupidity. Okay. I'm sorry to speak so transparently.
Yeah.
Because you can take one statement from anybody and draw from it. You have to look at, when you're going to judge anyone, you have to look at the totality of someone's statements on that topic. Mm-hmm. In this case, if you're going to claim gender bias, you have to look at the totality of everything. So in one place, a statement may be made, but in that context, it is completely relevant. But to draw a conclusion on one's disposition, you have to look at the totality of everyone's statements. We see this in the media today, right? How many of these media companies are being, really reprimanded and cut, right? Because what they are doing is they're taking people's statements, they cut them and slice them and they put them together, and they are misconstruing people's statements. In many ways. Well, we do this in our own sense of foolishness. But we see that, our Vedic system has, we are talking, I'm sorry, I'm going to get into a very delicate topic, but it's just relevant in this context, about gender equality, And if you see, our Vedic philosophy is the most gender neutral in equality. Why? First of all, we don't associate with gender, we are not this body. So at the absolute, the gender we have today is irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant to the big picture, which is we are all spirit soul. We're all spirit soul. So when we assume a body into a particular gender, and if that body or gender has certain characteristics and qualities and functions and natures, so be it. And if one gender tends to be more, empathetic and emotional, and one gender tends to be, more black and white and has strength, or one has more care, so be it. Those are temporary designations that are a function of that, just in as much as a human has a different nature and quality and characteristic than a dog. But our Vedic philosophy promotes all of that means nothing in the grand scheme of things, which is that we are all eternally part and parcel of Krishna. With the qualities of what? We have 50 qualities that we share with Krishna in minute amounts, but we have 50 qualities, every spirit soul. So the equality is in purest in our Vedic philosophy. Yet, due to some biased and motivated, one will say, "Oh, this is discriminatory. This is discriminatory," but it's complete garbage. Our Vedic philosophy promotes this complete, and you can look at the caste system. This Varnashram Dharma was completely destroyed by modern society, just like monarchies. But the original system is the most collaborative system you'll find in social structure. So we can remember that don't take, a single comment, a single statement from anyone and assume it to be look at the comments in totality. Then you make your judgment. No problem. So here we have an opportunity to celebrate Gandhari's greatness because of her qualities and her willingness to take on austerity, right? Who of us would blind ourselves for life like she did? Very, very strong person. It takes straight willpower, great qualities. We also see something very wonderful in the actions of Yudhishthira. Now, Dhritarashtra inspired and promoted the most horrific. Think about what the Pandavas endured at the hands of Duryodhana. Banishment in a forest, trying to insult his wife, trying to murder him by burning the house he's staying in, plundering all of it, just everything possible. In the best case scenario, if we are at least wholesome in our heart, we could probably come to the point of neutrality in our view to Dhritarashtra. Right? Okay, I won't hate, but I'll just stay away. And what is Yudhishthira Maharaj doing? Rushing back to the capital to console Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, to ease their pain of suffering. The person who is the cause of so much suffering to them. What Yudhishthira Maharaj is doing? Going back quickly to Hastinapur to ease the suffering of Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. And then is going to maintain them in this royal palace and keep them comfortable in a very hospitable and loving way. Now, who can do this? To someone who gave them so much difficulty. This is the quality of a pure devotee of the Lord. No matter what one does to them, they never stop seeing the greatness in others. They never lose sight of their responsibility. Somebody gives us even the slightest, bad response in whatever we are doing, and how much action we take against that. How long we meditate on it. How long it takes us to forgive. And then we realize, actually they had no idea, that wasn't even intentional. They just did it for some other reason. But we assumed the worst. You know, someone takes our plate of prasadam, oh shit. Angry. But they didn't know we had kept it aside for us to enjoy later because we were busy in some service. How upset we would never forgive that person for one plate of prasadam. 14 years these Pandavas were banished to the forest, and so much sadness and so much, and engaged in a ghastly war with them. And Yudhishthira Maharaj is anxious to ease the suffering of Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. This is the mood of a devotee. A devotee never, we talk about ahimsa. Ahimsa is non-violence. Non-violence to all living entities. But again, what is the most violent weapon we have?
Words.
Our tongue. Our tongue. So a devotee is always anxious to ease the suffering of everyone and anyone. And that's why a devotee has no enemies. One may be inimical to them, but the devotee never is inimical back. The devotee has no enemies. In our Vedic system, we'll see in 7th canto that even when an enemy comes to your house, they should be received in such a glorious way that they feel that you are their best friend. This is our Vedic culture. And Yudhishthira Maharaj is showing us this great quality of no sense of revenge. And we can pray to Yudhishthira Maharaj to also develop that quality. So we should be very tolerant in our interactions with devotees. You know, give the benefit of the doubt. Even if something after giving benefit is wrong, be tolerant. Forgive, forget. Keep showering love and mercy. You will be the beneficiary. You know, we feel, oh, I have to get even. I have to win. You want to win in your eyes, or you want to win in Krishna's eyes? Because how does Krishna see that? When one devotee is tolerating the insult or whatever activities of somebody else and doesn't reciprocate back. So one is acting poorly, one is tolerating and not reciprocating back. A and B. Which devotee pleases Krishna more?
Tolerant.
Is it even a question?
More tolerant than a tree.
More tolerant than a tree. So, if we want to win, we win with our restraint. We win with our restraint. It's very easy to fire back at somebody when provoked. Very easy. If you want to make a dog bark, how difficult is it? So easy.
Nothing to do.
Nothing. So easy. But it takes great strength, great power to restrain oneself. That's real strength. Oh, I'll show you. Anyone can do that. A 2-year-old does that. That's weak. But real strength, Hare Krishna. No problem. No problem. That takes strength. Strength of character. That takes an ascetic. That takes a tapas. We talked yesterday about austerity. When we take some austerity, it strengthens us. It builds strength. And that strength will pay dividends when we confront provoking situations. So in the midst of provoking situations, one who can show restraint, that is character. And Yudhishthira Maharaj, in the most provoking of situations, is showing unbelievable, not even restraint, he is going the other way and showering love. Unbelievable. And Gandhari, in the most provoking of situations, having lost her sons, her uncle, the kingdom, is showing great strength in her response. This is the power of bhakti and the power of devotional qualities. Thank you. Shrimadbhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions, comments?
Thank you, Prabhu.
We have one more verse left. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada